Stacey. I'm 15 years old and I go to school at Indianola Public School. So I first got into it because I was being bullied at school really bad. I was being slapped with shoes across the face because I would defend myself. You know, I would just walk away from stuff. I was extremely bullied. So one time me and my mom was like sitting in the living room and she was like, if I put you in Taekwondo, would you enjoy it? And I was like, I think so, yeah. So I did my first class and it was like a little kid class. Like it was being like obstacle courses. Like you did a few kicks and the rest of 30 minutes was like fun stuff. And then I advanced from there. I got my orange belt, so I was with the adults. I kind of got bored at one point because it was mainly just like forms. And then I started competing. I started going to like competitions. Like I was in like WTF, ITF, stuff like that. I was in UGMA and stuff when I started competing. And then like when I first started competing, I was doing the senior state games. So I could have had a chance to go to like Hershey, Pennsylvania, but we said no to that because I was small. We didn't know really what like I wanted by it, like you know, like what I wanted to do. And then I got really dedicated when I hit like purple belt. I started like considering the Olympics. And I was just like, okay, you know, I can do this. So that made me comfortable. And then when I really got serious is when I did my first state. And it was for the USAT, my USAT journey, the USAT journey. So I went to OTC, which is the Olympic Training Center in Colorado Springs. And I met my national coach, Master Lee. And he decided to take me on. But I wasn't fully on the team the first few months because I had to see if I could hang with the other kids and stuff. And then about 2 months down the road, I got my team Lee shirt. And then that led me to training with the full team, having a host family in Texas, in Plano, Texas, going back from Rowlett, Texas, to Plano, Texas, to Mesquite, Texas, to Colony, Texas, just all these different places. And then Master Lee's my main supporter, I feel like, because he's always there, you know, and he's a really good coach. And I have coaches in Oklahoma too, but that's a kind of difficult because I don't get to train there as much because I'm always down here. Like this week, I've been with a family, the Haas family in Plano, Texas, and they've been getting me back and forth because I'm best friends with their daughter, so she does Taekwondo too. So we've been doing the spring camp, getting ready for state, and then I've already qualified for nationals since I made my weight. I guess since I started Taekwondo, like, I'm more confident in myself. Like, I help others. I don't do bullying. If I see a kid in trouble, I'm always there to, like, help them, you know. And I'm really looking forward to 2020 because when I went to OTC, I signed papers saying that I would participate in the 2020 Olympics in Tokyo. So that makes me happy. I will have to do a team trials if, like Olympian doesn't retire from then and there. I will have to try out. But if someone does retire, then I have an automatic spot, so that makes me happy. There's actually a little girl in McAllister Taekwondo, her name's Channing, and she's been bullied. She's in Taekwondo. I give her advice. Kids talk to me all the time about, you know, this kid pushed me on the playground, you know, how do I get away from that? Well, be the bigger person. You know, you can go tell a teacher. That's what I would recommend, to tell your teacher. Sometimes your teacher like maybe won't fix the problem, tell your parents. That's what I usually tell them. And then if it gets physical, then that's when you have to take actions upon yourself and be responsible and be able to handle yourself and control your temper. Like you have to learn how to, you know, sometimes be the bigger person, no matter the circumstances, how hard it is. Because it's going to be extremely hard sometimes. I've learned from experience. You just have to overlook it. And, you know, kids, I've gotten asked to take pictures with kids. I asked to take pictures with people all the time. And now they're starting to ask me, and I'm just like, yeah, of course. You know, I love it. Honestly, I didn't know nothing about the Olympics. I've heard about it. And then what really made me want to do the Olympics is when I started training at the Olympic Training Center in Colorado, because I was hanging out with like Olympic boxers and I got to hear how they first started and when they first started. They were starting at like 5, you know, boxing all the ways up and stuff. So I was like, okay, you know, I can do that for Taekwondo. Like I can build up my confidence, you know, I can go to the Olympics. So what really made me want to do that was having like all these good role models around me and hearing about the Olympics 24/7. And then I did like a lot of research on it. Then I started fighting Olympians when I went to go to all these seminars, and I was like, if they can do it, you know, I can do it. So I just had to believe in myself and put 2020 as a possibility, and it's been a possibility for me, and it still is. So it just made me want to be like, you know, I don't want to be like other people. Like I want to go to the Olympics. Like I want to represent Oklahoma and Texas, you know. I want to like change things, you know. Okay, so this is actually where it starts, but not for me because I'm not a senior. If I was a senior above 17, I would be competing right now in the KAD sparring. Okay, there's KAD and KAP. It's just a different type of sparring. Like the points score differently, which y'all will see that when I fight, because I'll be doing Dado sparring. So I would have actually done it yesterday since I would have been a senior woman. I would have sparred yesterday. And then if I would have made my weights, I would automatically went to nationals. But I made weight, so I'm automatically going to nationals. But if I would have done team trials, I would either made like any type, like the A team or the B team. If you lose your first fight, then you go to the B team. If you lose your second fight, then you're off. Like you don't get to make a team. And then also, like there's Olympians fighting here tonight to fight for their spot on Team USA. So this is also like a team trials, and then on the side it's a state for the local places that want to go to nationals. Yes, I fought Victoria Stanberg at TWC, which is another school that we train with. It's Training World Champions, and she's an Olympian, and I beat her 28-27 by 1 point. She was undefeated. She was one of my best matches. Actually, what happened was I was a little intimidated by her. I walked into the ring, and then they said Victoria Stanberg, and I actually turned around and walked out. And my coach was like, no. I was like, no, y'all have the wrong Paden Stacey. Like, I'm not fighting her. And my coach pushed me back in, and my coach, he was aggressive, he was loud, you know, he wanted me to win. And I actually had to beat her to be able to be on Team Lee, and I did not know that while I was fighting. I'm glad they did not tell me that because I would have been extremely nervous. And I was already nervous fighting her, knowing her background and her reputation. So I was kind of just like, okay. In my first round, I was really standoffish, but I was still scoring. And then my second round, I was like, okay, like she's 26, by the way. And I was like, okay, you're faster than me, but I got more skills, you know, like she didn't have head kicks, I do. So I was just like, okay, so I just scored my head kicks. And my last kick was a spinning hook kick to her head. And you will see this when I fight. I'm right leg dominant, so I baby my left leg. I'm kind of just like, no, I don't want to throw it. And I actually scored with my left leg, so I was like, okay, thank goodness. And there's only 0.1 seconds on the clock left, and it was the third round. So I was like, okay, I just beat her. And she was disappointed afterwards, but I was just like, okay, I'm sorry, but I kind of had to do that. When I called her that night, I said, Mom, and she said yes. I said, I signed on for the Olympics. She said, no, you didn't. I said, yes, ma'am. I said, I signed on for 8 years. And she goes, Paden? She thought I was only signing on for 2020, but 2020 is a definite answer, but 2024 is still in the air because I will have to do team trials. But I put myself up for 8 years because I want to go. So I was like, yeah, 8 years it is. I got 8 years in me. I was like, I want to do it.